Good one, y'all. We have a special guest coming through. Welcome in LinkedIn, welcome in YouTube, welcome in Twitch, welcome in, y'all. We are streaming live all over the place, and we're talking about purple teaming this evening. I got a special guest coming through that's gonna shut it down and get us versed up on what is purple teaming, and we could take it to the next level and go beyond. Start talking about tools. Start talking about how to break into purple teaming, different routes that you can take, different certification paths that you can take. All that will be up to you. You being able to ask questions, specific questions that will get you the answers that you're looking for. Specific is terrific. What do they say? Is that what they say? Let me do a mic check. Mic check. Mic check. Mic check. Let me do a mic check. Yep, mic check. Good. We're good there. Terrific. If you know that saying, you know that the more specific you are with the questions that you have, the better results. Almost like prompting, almost like your AI prompting. The better input that you have, likely the better output. So, same concept there. The more specific you are with what you're trying to do, where you're trying to go, what you're trying to learn, how you're trying to get there, the better outcome. The better outcome, y'all. So specific is terrific. I can't let it go. I can't let it go. Welcome in LinkedIn. I'm all geeked up because you are the new kid on the block, and I'm trying to get it right. Been going live on TikTok a lot, and want to expand the reach. I want to expand the reach to other platforms, more awareness, more people joining in, more guests, more high quality, more guests, and continue climbing the caliber. You know, so far we've been having an extremely great outcome with guests, but we want to keep going. We want to keep hitting more topics. In order to do that, we have to expand. We have to expand, y'all. So that's what you're seeing live. And let me do a little mic check over here. Okay. Okay. I think a mic check is good. Y'all can hear me? Y'all can hear me good? What's up, Signate? What's up, Cupid? What's up, Benz? What's up, Paradox? What's up, Free Mind? What's up, everybody? Can I get a mic check? Can somebody confirm audio is stable? We're not just doing one channel. We have both channels coming through. Uh, Earlier, I went live and they said that the audio was low. How's the audio at this moment? Should I increase the volume? Should I increase the volume? I saw your LinkedIn post. Yep. So a lot of activity, a lot of good activity. Earlier we went live and it was a great live, everyone. Fantastic. Audio is better than it was the other day. Yes, good call out. I am growing. I am learning. I'm taking the feedback. I'm trying new things. I am tweaking, and we are going to figure this out together. We're going to figure this out together. So, if you know someone who is not on TikTok, but yet they would like to be a part of the conversation, would like to at least view the conversation, feel free to let them know that we are, Nate Butler Explains on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitch. So they have to have one of those platforms. If they don't have it, a lot of TVs these days have it built in. Some of these apps built in to where it's a click of a button. Have them search it up and watch it on the big screen, because we have some great guests come through and they drop some fantastic knowledge, and we're seeking more guests that can drop incredible knowledge. So if you know someone or you have a topic that you want covered, today is purple teaming, as you can see, but tomorrow it could be anything that you want. AI governance, ransomware, you name it, anything under the sun. We take a lot of tangents here. Are you still using Restream? No, I'm not using Restream or OBS. I am doing TikTok Live Studio, and I am using Streamlabs to do a screen capture of the live session and broadcasting that out to the other platforms. It took me a moment to kind of get there because I believe that the action is over here on TikTok. TikTok is where the action is, mainly because we have panels. No other platform has panels. People can jump in and out and already on the platform for whatever reason. And I want to take advantage of that. I want to take advantage of it, and I want to introduce it into the other platforms. Let them be a part of the discussion as well. Uh, LinkedIn is the professional world. We know there's a lot of people who are professionals that are not weighing into the conversation because they're not on TikTok, and they will probably never be on TikTok, and that's okay. That's okay, and that's a part of the reach. We want to reach over and get the messages out there, especially for the folks who are struggling. If you all don't know, I like to bring in the people who are established in the space as well as the people who are emerging in the space. So that way we can have conversations, we can dialogue, we can try our best to slow the conversation down. It is extremely difficult. It is extremely difficult to slow the conversation down. Almost impossible, what feels like. But but we do well. We do well. The conversation is not as slow as I would like it to be, but kind of lean into what the special guest earlier, Amanda, was talking about. She was mentioning, when it comes to getting you come into these spaces, and these are my words, but you come into these spaces, you want to learn, you get your knowledge, you get a rapid fire question out there, you get a rapid fire answer, and then you go do what you need to do. Those are great, but it's kind of an answer that's catered to the question. However, we're on a platform, so we're speaking about it in the most appropriate way that could provide the best coverage while delivering a solid answer. Sometimes they go straight to the jugular with those answers, and it's like spot on. It's for that individual, perfect. A lot of times I've seen that when they deliver those rapid fire answers, it's kind of tailored to the masses. It's kind of tailored to the masses. And my goal of starting this live is to try and address that. But again, it's hard. It's very hard to slow these conversations down, and get folks the answers. And I think the real answer is not only do you have to get the nuggets here, but you have to go from here in other places that you join and other communities that you join, and you have to go get custom tailored guidance. What's up, Busy? Welcome in, welcome in. What's up, Angelique? I see you over there. What's up, Levi the Cloud Guy? I see all of y'all. Um, Special guest will be in very soon. I was just chatting with him, and we're going to be covering purple teaming today. So get your notes out because this special guest is notorious for dropping tools, game processes, information. I don't even know how he holds all this in his head, but it's very impressive. You will see for yourself if you haven't already seen. We are talking about purple teaming. We have Meow coming through to come talk chat with us. He'll explain the whole Meow thing. That's what his name is, so that's what I call him. Some people call him X in the other rooms. I've seen him be called X. What's up, Nate? I see you over there. Y'all, welcome in. Welcome in. What's up, Call Me? Welcome in. So, and purple team, we just make up names now, or I'm orange teaming. Yeah, and Meow's gonna be able to deep dive into it, but there is I'm not red, or I do red, but I also do blue. So I have a mixture which is creating the the purple vibrant, ambiance and outcome. But we'll learn more. We'll learn more. We'll ask them some questions, and I hope that if this is your first time to this live, you all know. For the folks who have been here, you all know that I invite folks up. This is not the Nate show. I am the face. I'm the voice. I'm the one that just kind of got things rolling. But I highly encourage that we get this. We get Nate's perspective, but we also get others' perspectives as well. People who are established in the space, people who are emerging, people who are undecided. We have some people who are just plain old cyber curious, and they'll they'll listen. They just want to. They're just just open ears, and we want to hear from everyone. Because there's been guests that came in that said there's no dumb questions, silly questions are super helpful for your growth. You're vulnerable, stepping into a state of unknown where you don't know something, raising your hand and saying that you don't know, and then connecting with someone who does know, someone who can just guide you, someone who can shoot you straight, orient you. You may be disoriented, and you may try to break into you may have desires to break into cybersecurity, but you walk in and it's like, wow, all these domains, wow, all these tools, whoa, all these vendors, too much information overload, crash and burn, and there's just no progress, no growth, and you get wrapped around the axle real quick without guidance, without good guidance, without you being surrounded by people who are doing what you want to do and other things, and being a part of communities and contributing to those communities, not just, oh yeah, I joined the Discord and you just hang out. You actually have to find an area of interest, participate, ask questions, contribute, share knowledge. What's up, DJ BSEC? And that's how you grow. That's exactly how you grow. Rinse and repeat. There's so much to learn. Yeah, he's ultraviolet over there. There's some action over here on the TikTok side. So for the folks who are peeking in from LinkedIn and Twitch, if you want to be a part of some of the conversation, some of the chat, some of the in the opportunity to come up and you know say exactly what you want to say, ask questions, you have that opportunity over on TikTok. So let me check on let me check on Meow, see how he's doing. Feel free if you want to come up. Purple teaming middleman, part of cyber. Oh, I see him. The special guest is in the building. I'm gonna switch the scene up and get him on. And one moment. Here we go. Here we go. Here you go, bro. Here goes the accept. What's up? What's up? Oh, whoops. All right. I got you now. Can you hear me? Yeah, loud and clear, bro. Loud and clear. And let me make sure you coming through over here. Say something real quick. Let me just make sure I'm getting audio over here on. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We're oh yeah, we're hot. We're hot. We're hot. We're hot. All right, we are good. We're looking good. We have action. How you doing, man? How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Um, I was just eating dinner right now, and I was like, "Oh crap! I forgot. I'm supposed to appear as a live guest."
It's all
That's
good.
fun, right?
It's all good. It's all good, bro. No worries. I appreciate you sparing some time to come chat with us. We have some people who are unfamiliar with purple teaming, or maybe they're familiar and they just want to learn more. And uh, we want to know about it from person who's practicing and in the space. So can we start with maybe like just a little intro? I know that in other lives we've been catching tidbits about your background, but for the folks who are just like brand new, seeing all the letters and jumbled up characters as your name, can you give us a little bit of insights? Who are you? Where'd you come from? What do you have going on these days, and what are those characters for your name?
Yeah. So I'm Meow. I don't really give out my name. I mean, as understandable. Um, do purple teaming. Started off as a blue teamer. Well, started off first in OSINT, helping out investigations with private investigators, law enforcement, so on and so forth. Then moved into red teaming, purple teaming space, and doing cyber intelligence with the aforementioned parties. Um, yeah, I've done that for a few years now. I develop tools, software, and stuff like that for purple teaming, red teaming, and blue teaming. Um, in a sense, purple teaming, a quick definition of purple teaming. It's jack of all trades, master of none. That's how I like to see it. At least in my opinion, because, or for me, um, because I can do red team, I can do blue team, right, as in the purple name, but I can also do OSINT in the full attack life cycle, as well as the defense life cycle. For my name, it's a Zord string for meow. Um, that's what the username is. It's Zor encoding. So once you get into red team development, adversary emulation, I'm not. Should I explain adversary emulation
You're gonna have
as
to
well?
break down. You're gonna have to go kind of slow. I know typically you have a lot in your brain and you know a lot, so you'll drop a bunch of details, and you're kind of like we're sitting here glazed over, and so you just try to take your time, and yeah, please explain as you're going along.
Yeah. Well, adversary emulation is deploying tactics, techniques, and procedures (TTPs) that threat actors would use, right? So, for an adversary emulation exercise or an engagement, I would develop a simulation spyware, ransomware, remote access Trojan, so on and so forth, and run through the full attack lifecycle for that, for my organization, or for the organization that I'm um, doing an engagement for. So, going through the full attack kill chain of um, enumeration, port scanning, checking for CVEs, checking for weak links, um, as well as doing phishing engagements. So I scrape a whole bunch of emails, scrape a whole bunch of different things from the website. I use my own custom tools to do so. Um, and then from that, I then verify the emails that I gather and then start sending out via my own self hosted email infrastructure or the relevant infrastructure. I can't go really too much into the adversary emulation because I don't want to give people a step by step on how to, weaponize it, right? Um, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Developing ransomware, With ransomware simulation and adversary emulation ransomware, you make sure that the ransomware key, is given to the IT department or whoever that is in charge of all that stuff on the company side. So if they get hit by your payload, they can easily decrypt it, and then teach, according. But yeah, or um, improve their defenses and bolster their defenses with such.
It's fire. It's fire. So everyone, you know that if you want to come up, ask questions, interface with Meow, share some of your experiences, feel free. Now's the time. And but I'm gonna shoot some questions out there, but feel free to come in and also layer in. So, you,
I appreciate you, DJ. He's breaking down my points for the
ooh,
people that don't know as well.
that's helpful. Good looking out, DJ BSEC. Good looking out. So, okay, so with so many different directions, ransomware, you're creating it. Um, so, are these asks from? Are there specific asks from an organization that you get and then you take carry out these tasks, or is this something that you're in more of a consulting role and you're coming in with this is what you should be doing type of thing?
So yeah, it's a sometimes it's an ask by companies that I've partnered with prior. Um, when I had my company, I put it on hold for a bit because I got a kiddo on the way. Um, so trying to focus on my kid rather than having to focus on a whole bunch of other stuff. But when I had my company, I worked for or partnered with other organizations to test their defenses, develop custom things according to known threat actor TTPs. Um, like there was can't really give out the details because of non-disclosure agreements, but there was a organization that we were tracking, and the company that I partnered with wanted to test their defenses because they were in a field or a sector that this specific threat actor targeted the most. So they wanted me to emulate their TTPs as much as possible to bolster their defenses and test how their defenses would work against this specific threat actor's TTPs.
That's fire. And then you also said something about custom tools. When you say that, can you give folks an idea of maybe not, down into the weeds, but what do you mean by custom tools?
Oh, that's pretty easy to answer. It's essentially just whatever I need an engagement. So let's say if I need a scraper and I don't want to use Hunter anymore because Hunter is sucky in regards to the payment plans and the tokens. I mean, the free version's pretty cool, but it's like 40 emails. And if you're doing this engagement for the whole company, you need more than that, right? And I didn't want to pay, so I just developed my own. But with one of my tools, I integrate AI that's been trained by me and my specific email stuff. It scrapes websites. This is just one of my tools to give an example, but it scrapes websites for emails, potential credential pairs, giving, you know, like random passwords that can be guessed or speculated upon by the AI. SSH keys, emails, passwords, as already said that. But all these other information that we could use to then emulate forward. So it maps, directories, all these other things as well. And that's just one of the tools that
I like that.
was developed.
I like Sikne's question over there, and it's about what how'd you get into this type of work? Because the things that you're saying are not your everyday knowledge that folks, even in the cybersecurity space, have at their frontal lobe. They that what you're talking about is very specialized, very specific. And can you give us an idea of how you found yourself at this level?
Um, yeah, it actually, it's funny that you ask because it started off with me watching Eagle Eye, the movie back, way back in the day. I was like, what? I don't even remember how old I was, like 13, 14 when I saw that. And then I played the first Watch Dogs and, the video game. And I was like, well, that's pretty cool. So ever since then, it kind of altered my view. Um, about everything, and I was like, you know what? I want to be like Aiden Pierce, which is the main character of Watch Dogs. So I just started, doing as much research as I could. In high school, I was in coding class or comp sci, the little programming class that they give. I was a teacher's assistant in there. Um, and then I went into college for cybersecurity. I decided to pursue the courses and um, the certifications instead. But yeah, ever since then, I've just been building upon my knowledge and I try to become a full domain person. Um, my ultimate philosophy for life is learning everything that you can about everything you can to become as well rounded as possible. I like to be self reliant and self sufficient. So that's why, most of my TTPs and most of these, the things that I can do was because I didn't want to rely on other software that could fail on me at any point in an active engagement. So I was like, if this can be buggy, like Spiderfoot, I'm not sure if you guys know about that. It's an OSINT framework that is used for pen testing here and there. But Spiderfoot, their dependencies crapped out a long time ago, and it was in the middle of an engagement. And I'm like, you know what? I can't rely on this tool, so I need to start building my own tools, right? So, yeah.
That's crazy. That's um that's super cool. And I guess the natural next question is, hey, for the folks, since you've been there, done that, you're in, and you have like the even the consulting side of the house as well, which is kind of another uh another great thing that you bring to the table. Anyone who wants to follow in your footsteps, what are some of the different things that you would guide them towards? Any kind of daily digest, any kind of, I don't know if there's a certification path that makes sense. Any specific roles that you would say you should definitely try and get you a X role? What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, it's it's definitely a long process, I would say. Um, multiple steps, of course. And as people said in the comments, DJ and Cyber Secrets, Spiderfoot is like really old. There's a lot of other stuff that has been um, added upon and improved on, and tools that do a lot better than Spiderfoot. But it's still, an honorable mention. They were pretty good for quite a bit. But for to answer your question, I would say learn blue team fundamentals. Um, of course, learn how to harden your operating system. Learn basic Linux internals. That's all I use. Obviously, what cybersecurity professional uses anything else but Linux? I'm not sure, but yeah, definitely learn how to harden. Run Linux. on your operating system to, check what is missing, look at the codes, harden according, um, run, install IDS, IPS, intrusion detection, and intrusion prevention systems, uh, lock down, all the other attack vectors, obviously. And then start learning OSINT. After you're done learning OSINT and all of that stuff to get that recon and information gathering phase, and you have a deep, in-depth knowledge of such, that's when you can go to red team fundamentals and all that other stuff. And continue to do red team. For certifications, I would say it's just all about learning as you go, to be honest with you. And I don't, to answer some of the questions and comments, I don't use Maltego. Maltego is pretty cool, but their pro version sucks and it's expensive as F. I'm not going to cuss in this live out of respect for the the host, but Maltego isn't really something that I run on a daily. If anything, I plot my own stuff. But to answer you, DJ, yeah, I run my own stuff. And then to answer Seekne, do I have any favorite blogs about DFIR or common attack paths? I would say just keep up with Hacker News and look at the Telegram channels of threat actors to keep up to date with their recent breaches and so on and so forth. But yeah, I forgot where I was last at before I answered the questions.
All good. Let's bounce over to J Rock the House question. He asked one, why is the industry, why did you praise Linux as a gold standard? What's the reason behind all of that?
Lots of reasons. Linux is extremely customizable to whatever your needs are. It's free and open source, so you know what is going in your system and you know what's going to be in your system, unless it's like, one of the enterprise ones that they don't really do free and open source. But you can download a whole bunch of different tools. You can customize it with your specific kill chains and all of that stuff as well. Not to mention, it has certain distributions don't have any telemetry. Telemetry is terrible, especially for red teaming and even for just average everyday use. Telemetry essentially gives out data to the provider or outside third-party sources. And I don't run Tails. I run my own operating system, the one that I built. It uses Parrot. It kind of combines a lot of Parrot's tooling and some of their principles, but adding my own software integrations, my own customization, a whole bunch of other stuff that I've done. I've routed all logs to TempFS to have no logs. If I want to do logs, I just, put it to an encrypted file using AES 256 GCM with Argon2 ID. So yeah, and then on the point about telemetry, I don't recommend Windows at all. First of all, because Windows sucks, like genuinely as a complete operating system. It's terrible. They have a whole bunch of spyware, whole bunch of whole bunch of different things that are completely nasty. But I mean, this is my own personal preference. I like Linux and my own operating system first because I've developed it and it's just, fun to me. And then for answering your question, Cyber Secrets, I troubleshoot, the logs stay as long as it's booted. right? So if I'm running into an issue um, in regards to, like, let's say if CHK Rootkit or RK Hunter, completely fails on me, right? And I need to do a traceback. I can still, do that if I route it to a text file or whatever the case may be. But I also have AIDE to check file integrity, so on and so forth. And then I have a whole bunch of other things that check if things fail in the background. And then if they do fail in the background, it alerts me as soon as it does.
I want to jump in here. Uh, we had something come up. I see one CK over there. If you want to come up, feel free, bro. Uh, and there was just a previous live. You were not here, Meow. But someone had mentioned ransomware, and it was there was a mention of thin clients and that don't have any hard drives in them, and the possibility of ransomware. Some are there flavors or variants of ransomware that could land on a thin client?
To be honest with you, I'm not 100% sure about that. Um, I wish I was, because that would be something that would be, fun to develop, that type of ransomware. Um, for a thin client, what does it have all the operations in RAM or something like that, or what if there's no hard drive? How would the storage and everything be?
Yeah, we don't have all the details, but we can I can get some back end conversations
Oh,
going.
DJ, I just saw his drop on that. Um, Still running hard drives in there back my hardware. Oh, okay. So, I mean, wouldn't it just work with just regular ransomware at that point? To where it would just map the whole file system, check the extensions of the files or the file extensions, and then choose which ones to encrypt and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. So if it does have a hard drive, that's where we know that that's vulnerable. I mean
Yeah.
that can be hit with ransomware, but the way it was posed to us.
Oh, the machine is restarted. It's wiped. Oh yeah, you would just hook into UEFI at that point. So you would have. I mean, how I would think about it is to enable persistence, it would just have to re-encrypt every single time it's restarted. Um, hooking into UEFI or integrating a bootkit in accordant or in as well as the ransomware. So the bootkit would download the ransomware from C2 to reinfect the system and then re-encrypt everything. That's what I would think, at least.
Nice, 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 nice. Everyone, if you want to come up, feel free to ask questions. I see some new faces over there, and feel free to
Oh yeah,
request up.
true. DJ. Yeah, we could reinfect the image or enable persistence, like using files that are stored on the system itself, and then just use Stego. Um, and then with Stego, you could have like a depacker or something like that to put it on back on the system, right? If they have certain directories or certain files that would remain on the system and that aren't wiped after reboot, right? For the persistent storage. So, I mean, you could just hook it into that and then just have it propagate through each one of the files and then just stego the ransomware in each one of those. I don't know. That's a that's interesting. That's for sure. I'd
Speaking
have to
of
do more research.
speaking of the devil, No, Tech Food. I see you over there, bro. Tech Food. He brought it up, and this is a long time ago story. But he was just the whole purpose of the story was to talk about on getting your point across, and when one person says one thing, another person says another. So let's actually talk about that. Whenever you have I'm sure you interact with senior leadership, executive leadership, and when you have to interface with them and they're unaware of what anything and everything that you're talking about, or get an idea of something that may not even be a thing, but raise it into the equation or put it on the table. How do you handle that? How do you navigate that? Y- can you share some insights about that?
So, how I would communicate it to leadership and so on and so forth about what I found or what we could do or something like that. Is that what you're
Especially if
saying?
they have like pre notion ideas on how something is or is not. Like they may come in with a false understanding of something, and you may have to kind of mold their minds into understanding the reality.
Yeah.
How do you navigate that piece?
Honestly, exactly what DJ said. Definitely just do reports at that point. Report it in plain language, plain English, and try to explain it as I would explain it to a 6-year-old, as dumbed down as possible. Um, I don't know. I just make it as simplistic as possible, and that's what I would say.
Oh.
What's up, bro?
Hey man, how are you doing? I have no idea. I literally just turned on, so I don't know what aspect of whatever I said before was being
We're
dis.
trying to talk about those thin clients and ransomware.
Oh God, Jesus Christ! But you have to understand, it was just. Let me tell you something. We had other stuff. We had well over. We had two large ESXIs that were at the co-location, right? That hosted our data, that hosted I want to say our terminal server environment. All of that got corrupted hardcore, like you know what I'm saying, like, so literally, if it was a PC, if it was a laptop, like, forget it. You know what I'm saying? Even remote teams that had
It's a worm.
laptops, they were like, hey, oh, I got this what's this RYUK thing. Yeah, I'm like, oh my God, you too? Like, bro, like, you're like not even in New York. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is that they logged into our terminal server environment, and as such, they got corrupted. You know what I'm saying? What's up, J Rock? But the thin client, that was just a part of it. And let me tell you something. In hindsight, I should have either made a decision to be like, yo, I'm out, like I'm quitting. But I shouldn't have. I wouldn't, like, in future tense. I would not, like, I would probably just write up the best as I can. Okay, and then just try to say yes, okay, and then leave. You know what I'm saying? Because
Hmm.
it didn't make any sense either way how everything worked out. And that's my perspective. I don't know. All right.
I like that. I like that. At the end of the day, you know, when you're reporting to work and you're doing a job, and if you don't agree with some of the top down, approach that is top down, and you got to make a hard decision sometimes. But I like what DJ Big Sex says. Communicating. Communicate via reports. Keep it moving,
Yeah.
and I like that.
Mhm. So on that point about the thin client, and you said the other people were infected because they connected to the terminal environment of the server.
Right. Literally every all. So we had, right, right. If you want, I could give you an explanation of how our environment worked, but let's just put it to you this way: like, anyone that logged in that had a laptop, any document that was touched, right? all it did was just cause that issue. Like that I'm telling you, we just had to. That's just what it was. You know.
What did they do a wiper or what was the IOC? Like what was the what you call it?
You
The
want
malicious
you want
software, the malware.
the name of the malware? The name of
Yeah.
the name of the malware was called not malware. The name of the ransomware was called Ryuk. RYUK. Right?
Okay.
From what was explained to me,
Oh, so they did a worm, huh? They
yeah.
most likely did a worm.
Right. So this thing, I gotta tell you,
Ooh,
it's
that's crafty.
I was just like, what? Why us? Why? You know what I'm saying? But I realized, like, listening to how where it started and what happened, it's like basically the damn ransomware had like a trick bot type scenario to it where it just sat and just kept on waiting until basically someone that had a higher privileged access would show up to do some work because it was
So
basically bugging out, right? So someone, not me, right? Not me, someone else from the team, one of our techs, went out and was working on it, and basically it took those credentials and hopped onto the next machine and waited and waited and waited.
Oh, so that's how it propagated. As
Yeah.
soon as so it hooked into something else, or files that sent to another device, and then it basically what did it stego into those files, and then once it hit the new device, it then unpacked itself and then reinfected and then kept on going like that.
Kept
Did
on
that how it?
going, and then looked for weaknesses in we were using Carbon Black, right, at that time, but
Mhm.
our configuration for Carbon Black was weak. It really was. It was weak. It was weak. Like for it could have been way more complex, but it was weak. So basically, it used a default to basically shut off Carbon Black. He
Ooh.
used like this, so there's like a default password for like installing. At
Mhm.
that time, there was a default password for installing a Carbon Black, right? And um, uh, it basically just would it basically told Carbon Black like, "Hey, get out of my face!" Like shut off.
Yeah, that means they definitely had a in-depth understanding of your guys' network then.
Mhm.
Yeah, they were definitely doing a whole bunch of recon. Was it, did you don't have to name names of the TAs, but do you know, like,
When you say
around what threat
TAs,
actors
what is the TA? What do you mean? What's the TA?
threat actors? It's a CTI term.
Okay, okay, the threat actors. So when
Yeah.
you say the threat actors, right? You're talking about like the name. Oh, so it's a Russian group. There was a Russian group. I do know. I don't know their name. Like if you were to give me choices, I'd be like these guys. You know what I'm saying? But basically,
So
it was a Russian group.
Cozy Bear?
Was it
I mean,
Maze?
that's not.
I feel like saying that. I'm not sure. Maybe I could. Maybe I
One
couldn't.
second.
I'd have to look it up because my understanding is like they're a Russian group with Ukrainian tendencies. You know what I'm saying? Because one of the things is like, so I was in the army for a few years, and I
Mhm.
still remember when someone said, "Yeah, they're a Russian
It's
group."
8:45.
What you say? Someone said something.
No, that wasn't me.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So basically, when someone said when they said Russian group and they mentioned Ukraine, I was like, "Oh, that's interesting." Then someone was like, "Why do you think it's interesting?" And I was like, "Yeah, because those guys, like, they don't have nothing to do over there. Like they don't like they at that time. This was just before like the war kicked off, and so my perspective with some of those places was just like you got a bunch of next level technological people that are basically unemployed. What do you think's going to happen?
I'm searching who the devs of Ryuk was because I want to see if VK Underground or VX Underground has a cracked
Yeah,
version
you said V.
of that. I forget his specific name. I think it's VK Underground, but um, he usually, you know, He's the known dude for gathering ransomware and just a whole bunch of different types of malware.
Mhm.
Um, second, I'm looking to. I'm looking into Ryuk right now.
Mhm. Yeah, RYUK. It's basically my understanding is that they took the
I
name
don't
of a
understand.
Pokemon. They took the name of a Pokemon character.
Hmm. I mean, I don't understand why they did beat Bitcoin, which is stupid. If I was them, I would have used XMR, which is
You
Monero.
said Bitcoin. I
Yeah.
don't recall when they I know that they did send a letter asking for a certain amount of funds to do things, and
Oh, Wizard
what came
Spider. Okay.
yeah, what came of that is not sure. I actually took some still shot photos of certain things, but I've never went about packaging the story correctly. I always just like like I'll probably need to work on that.
Huh. Yeah, I'm doing some research into them. They're yeah, that's interesting. I'm gonna have to definitely look. Oh, okay. They probably did Bitcoin to bounce to Monero. Yeah, what I was thinking, most likely, they were. If anything, they probably would have done BTC swapping to meme coins, and then swapping back to Bitcoin or USDT, Tether, whatever one of those, and then swap using Uniswap or Cake Wallet to XMR, running it through a couple tumblers, and then once it's run through a couple tumblers, they swap it again to Zcash and then XMR and then
You
offload.
talking about how they got
But
their
I mean,
money?
still,
How would they get their money, or what are we talking about?
yeah, most likely. To
Oh,
defeat chain analysis, using like chain analysis, Metasleuth, all that stuff, blockchain forensics,
okay.
FBI, cyber, IC3, they do stuff like that, and they trace according to that.
That part I wouldn't even know. I'll be honest with you. I like my understanding. Like they just got as good. Then it was a combination of they just got as good, and that there were things that were not set up correctly. Like the backup was on the same network as the server. I mean, pardon me, the backup was on the same network as everything else. You know what I'm saying? There were several things that we
So
couldn't
there was no
done with
segmentation.
it. There was no segmentation. Yeah, there
You
was no
guys didn't
segmentation.
do sig.
But it
What?
was. Let me tell you something. It
That is
was
standard
literally
best practice.
no. Listen, this for back when I always look at that ransomware event as I call certain things in my career like pre ransomware, post ransomware. I always say like pre virtualization, post virtualization. So to me, this was pre ransomware. Like I still remember, like we had people above me that were not technical and not trying to be. I mean, really, not to that effect. They just had a certain belief about certain things. I still remember a vice president of IT operations saying to me, "What are you worried about? We've never been hacked before."
Hmm.
Which, which one was not true. We had, but it's just that he just wasn't a part of the recovery effort of one site, But that's just an example. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to derail.
Yeah.
I don't want to derail the discussion. I know that this is Nate. This is Nate's thing. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I'll answer any questions because the thing is that it was for me. It really was a learning event and a turning point. And to have to be a part, to have to be. We had 45 sites across New York City. We had over 2,000 accounts between users, service accounts, etc.
Hmm.
Right? We had to recover all those sites. We had to change the IP address of all those sites. right?
Yeah, so I'm looking at the encryption modules that they were using. They used RSA 4096. Good idea, but it would have been better if they used ECC. And then for their other encryption was AES 256 CBC, which would have been better if it was GCM because it was authenticated encryption. But that's besides the point. I was just nerding out about their tech specs, but nonetheless.
No, their tech specs. Listen, you know what's so crazy is that when we had the incident response team come, there was a gentleman that he just asked. He goes, "Hey, are all of your machines at the same caliber? You know, at the same spec?" And I was like, "No, no, we have some. You know, where the teams like they kept on pushing off upgrades, pushing off whatever." So I mentioned that to say that basically in downtown Brooklyn, they would say several sites, different team, wait, same team, but different sites, where they
Hmm.
had a certain type of machine. And basically because of the demands of Ryu basically said, like the operating system of Ryu, the system itself basically destroyed those machines because they were not at a certain par. You
Hmm.
understand what I'm saying? Like those machines they basically crashed. And the IT, I would say the director of IT operations, his idea was, hey, give them laptops as those machines were basically crashing. So he was allowing for them. He gave them laptops because the machines were crashing. And his thing was, when all those machines go bad, we'll just go and collect them. He literally said that. Yeah, I swear to you, it was just a different time, guys.
Yeah. If anything, I would like to hear more about that in DM. If you could, we could chop it up in DM about that.
Yeah, if you want, not a problem. No,
Yeah.
not a problem.
I definitely want to nerd out about it.
It nerded me out. I could tell you. Even our recovery, like there was some parts I was just like, I felt like there's certain things we could have done better, but I really just should have been like, okay, and just went along with it,
Yeah.
or left actually.
I don't know. I think that when you stood up, not everyone's going to stand up to the CIO. I think that's what you mentioned. Not
I mean,
everyone is going to
mhm.
like stand their ground and make sure that they say what it is that they're thinking. So I think that that's a big lessons learned there on how we engage senior leadership and executive leadership.
Hey, just a side note. I just got a ping from my CTI channel. A threat actor team just uploaded multiple things to dark forums for Netflix. It looks like 1 million Netflix accounts. Um, whatchamacallit? I'm looking through their channel, but there was PayPal and a whole bunch of other things earlier. So if you have any of those accounts, or if you have PayPal, Netflix, as well as other stuff, sorry, I'm just going through the data right now. Make sure to change your password, your username, your email, all of that as well. Um, and then use 2FA with a authenticator, TOTP,
Yeah,
and then continue to monitor that as well as passkeys, of course. Um, but yeah, they just dropped that currently,
yeah.
as well as Canva. So I just found some right now. I'm looking at some of it.
What's the source that you're looking at?
Uh, I monitor the threat actor channels directly and dark forums with my custom scrapers that scrape those
Okay.
pages for new drops.
Yeah. Yep. Listen, you know how crazy it was. This was a few years ago. Let's put it this way: some of the several of the C suites didn't even use MFA. Like seriously, that's real. You know what I'm saying? Several of the C suites didn't even use MFA. Some of the financial setups, like some of the payroll channels where someone could basically. I'm surprised that like that information didn't happen where someone got a hold of like an account where there was like a pay thing, because like, so for instance, I know I found out that there were comptrollers that were basically able to release up to like say $20,000 just just off of like an account. Like they had up to $20,000, and they didn't have, according to what I read, they didn't even have a MFA on that setup. You know what I'm saying? So I'm kind of, I mean, it just goes to show. I mean, you know how things were back in the days. I remember like being told to go to certain departments, and I'm like, "Hey, you guys, I need to enroll you guys in MFA," and they were arguing with me tooth and nail about it. We're talking about people in finance. You know what I'm saying? This is how
When you
long
say
ago it was.
when you say back in the day, what do you mean back in the day? Are we talking like
So
10 years ago? We talking 2 weeks, two
no,
months
not
ago, two
definitely not
years?
2 weeks. So I would say when I say so we're in 2025, let's say 2009, 2019. That's to me is back in the day, which is 6 years. It's like yeah,
It's
that's
actually 7 years now.
yeah, 7 years. Yeah, let's go. Yeah, let's go. Let's say because I think that this happened. Let's say this happened in 2019. I'd been with the company since 2013. I still remember. Listen, there's people that were like, "Hey, Mark, you have reset my password, please?" And I'm like, "What?" Or probably I just said my government, but that's what they were like. "Hey, can you reset my password, please?" And come into my office and help me out. And I'm like, okay, I go inside the office, and then they're like, all right, yeah, put it here, put it there. Let's make sure that it's remember the password for me, please. All right, thank you.
Well, we have to realize that MFA, even though everybody screams and yells about it right now, you go back 5 years or 6 years, people weren't on top of MFA like
Yeah,
they
I
are
know.
now.
Like they looked at it as a problem. They looked at it as a problem. Even I was in charge of the mobile device management. I actually implemented the mobile device management, and let me tell you, people felt like it was a problem putting in a password on their iPhones. I mean, I was just remember just being like, yo, like you can't look at it like it's a problem. You not wanting to put their fingerprints in.
Well, and I would say it wasn't even that a problem in that sense. Many of the people that were in IT, and if you were even in security at that time, didn't want to implement it because it was a, you know, pain, pain in the butt. Having to deal with individuals that don't deal with it to begin with. Now you've created more help desk tickets. You've created more pain. Um, you've you've become a stopgap in people working versus allowing the company to continue on and work throughout the day. You've created more problems,
Absolutely.
and you've created more problems. That's why over the last 5 years or so, it's the adaptation has been there, and more people. In all reality, the enterprise groups, enterprise companies had that pain. But when you saw Google and you saw Netflix and everybody outside of that commercially start to go that way, and people had to use that for their banks and they had to use it for specific accounts, that's when everybody started going, oh, well, it's really not that bad. And you saw everything go
Mhm.
from SMS messages, which is crazy because you had SMS
Can
MFA in place, and when that was in place, the SS7 protocol was already hacked to begin with anyway, so it didn't really matter. But you at least had an extra factor in there.
Right, right.
Yeah, and I honestly, what I always recommend for people is instead of using like standard MFA, like SMS 2FA because
Right.
that's extremely prone to SIM swapping. I mean, if the program or if the service allows for it, use a code-based or TOTP-based multi-factor authentication. I
An app
prefer,
you mean, specifically. You
huh?
mean like an app.
Yeah, like Aegis Authenticator, really good, free and open source. You can check their source code. And then I know 2FAS is pretty good for, and they have like sync across devices and everything as well. But yeah, if anything, if the platform lets you do it, make sure to do TOTP. If they don't, use an email. Use your email for MFA. Don't enroll in SMS because that's prone to SIM swapping,
Right.
and it's a relatively easy thing to do to SIM swap. If anything, to prevent that, make sure you set up with your mobile carrier a passcode to implement, or you have to tell them a passcode
Mhm.
to change your number to a new
So
SIM card.
so that's
That's
already in
another thing.
place. That's actually in place automatically. Telco
Yeah.
by
Yeah.
federal government is already in place. So usually when you go create an account now, whether it's an enterprise account with AT&T or any, if you want to move your number to something, you have to give them the code.
So
And
let
if
me.
you
Mhm.
don't know the code, then usually they will send it to your email or something along those lines to create that code. But that's become more and more of a standardization.
Yeah.
Let me tell you guys something. I'm prime military, but I didn't even do IT in the military. But it's just I just believe in like I want to say call response, right? And if I don't know you, I shouldn't let you into stuff. I took over the telecom, right? And one of the team was, and at first I was partnering with one person, and I implemented the MFA, right, at the for all of our phones because we were getting phones. I was able to, let's put it this way, I was able to order boxes and boxes of phones. You understand what I'm saying? Like phone, like real, like if I wasn't like who I was, I could have started like my own little phone resource. Like, hey, if Nate was my cousin, Nate, you want an iPhone 6? I got you. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you can
With the
order
phone
boxes and boxes of SIM
with the
cards.
phone with a whole phone number. But it wasn't until I enrolled us. It's like there's so many steps to this thing because you have to enroll if you're doing Apple, right? You have to enroll the Apple deployment program with the carrier. So that way if the phone was to fall off, like say for instance the phone was to magically disappear, right? Apple would basically have the MAC address of that phone. So the instant it gets turned on, they'd be like, hey, that phone that you reported stolen, it's being activated.
You're talking about deploying it as a with an MDM though, right? That's what you're
Yes,
talking
because
about.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. That's because that's all part of it. Because if you're talking about SIM swapping is an example, right? If you're you know it's particularly related to a business, right? If you're ordering the phones for like your comptrollers and things like that, that's something that I took a look at also. How
Also
secure?
realize that when it comes to SIM swapping, a lot of that stuff ends up being people that internally work at that company. So you may have heard or seen in the past year, I think T-Mobile got hit, and it actually ended up
Right.
being like 4 or 5 people that actually worked for T-Mobile
Hmm.
that were doing the SIM swapping. So
Yeah. I mean,
it's the Wild West out there,
who else
boys. It's the
but
Wild
them? Who
West.
else but them? I mean, who else? You know what I mean? It's with it.
I mean, a lot of these threat actors, they actively seek out people that are, in these companies. I know on Dread, um, if you guys aren't familiar with the Dread, that's basically the Reddit of the dark net, or one of them. But they actively put ads up for, telecom providers or insider threats.
Yeah.
Or they have their members apply for these companies and fake their credentials, all of that stuff, to get into these companies to then propagate whatever they want to do. Um, I mean, there's a whole bunch of things out there if you're really crafty, and a lot of these threat actors are extremely crafty.
I mean, if you consider where some of these guys are coming from, it's very seldom that they're like that they're from America. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's not even if they're from certain places that are like war torn, troubled nations. You know, if if I'm a millennial and I'm like from Ukraine, you know, I gotta tell you, I might be tempted on some what else have I got to lose type thing. You know what I'm saying? Or what have I faced before?
And then,
If I faced Russia, I don't have no. I'm not going to be quarreling about if I'm going to do something wrong in America. Like my God, I've faced Russia. Like
yeah, and then on top of that, a lot of these people come from countries where there's no extradition, or it takes a long time to extradite them, or actually just prosecute them in general.
And they're running on
Not to
bulletproof
mention that.
servers.
Exactly. I mean, a whole bunch of this stuff is anonymous by default. I mean, that's if you're running with, if you're, one of the higher tier criminal threat actors. I mean, all of them are, a threat actor is criminal. I didn't know why I voiced that, but
We went from
a
purple
lot of
team to
these,
CTI.
yeah, it happens.
No,
I mean,
I mean,
I do,
you
like I said, mhm. Go ahead.
no, no, yeah, I was just saying, like, tech food on the motivation, right? Like, you're in a hard situation, and whether or not maybe your family eats, or you're able to have shelter, or you're able to negotiate with somebody, like hitting a digital lick might be the difference between you like surviving to next week or not.
yeah,
That's more than
Yeah.
temptation. That's like it's a matter of
that's
survival.
motivation. Yeah.
Yeah. And then on the note about purple team to CTI, see, as I said earlier, I'm not sure if you were here for that, DJ, but I call myself a jack of all trades because I make sure my hands are in multiple pots so I can be as informed as possible with
I
the
do
current
this.
ecosystem.
I do the same thing. A jack of all trades.
And
What
a
is it?
master of every.
Master. Yeah, master of none. Jack of all trades and a master of none.
See, I did none to every one of them. But
Well,
on the point
that
of what?
but I was just saying, so that's why I came up here, because I wanted you talking a lot about the OSINT, and then the like offensive type stuff and some CTI stuff. But the when you're writing your reports, right? You've done these kind of engagements with people, and you're writing your reports. How detailed do you get into, like, hey, you need to configure your EDR like this, or is it just
If
kind of like general? Do you get into like, oh, here are screenshots of what you need to do to fix the problem, or you go,
yeah.
hey, I know you
Mhm.
guys didn't have the wherewithal to put
So
it in place in the first place. You fix your EDR and then just leave them to figure it out.
no, with what I do, I make sure that I do step-by-step guides so they have no excuse to not fix it. Because I've ran into multiple scenarios where blue team operators, a part of these companies, um, they got my reports. I was like, hey, you need to fix this specific configuration because, otherwise you're going to get pawned by some kid in Bosnia with a 20-year-old ThinkPad, right? I just do that for illustration. But nonetheless, they take that, they're like, okay, yeah, we're going to fix it. The next engagement, it's still not fixed, right? Because when I asked them, hey, why isn't it fixed? Oh, we don't know how to do that specifically. I'm like, well, there's a lot of resources, but you can't fix stupid, sadly. I mean, you can fix stupid, you can't
Come
fix
on, that's
ignorance.
kind of mean. They have a ticket queue with so many tickets. They don't know how to prioritize the effort. So, like, in your reports, do you put a priority or just like even level of effort on there?
Well, I
I
got to
do
tell
I
you
do
something.
both. Yeah, I do the critical, if it's critical, high, medium, low informational. And I make sure that, you know, the critical is at top, but even then they don't fix those. From
What's
what
that
my
mean?
experience
I
is,
feel yeah, like critical. All right, critical. I have tickets that come in as
RCE.
critical sometimes, and it's like RC. What's it mean in terms of like what could happen? Like, what is the impact? Like, why should they care? Why do they care? Besides that, it says critical.
If you see RCE, you better care.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
exactly. I was
we
about
know
to say,
that.
if
We
it's
know
if
that.
it's a
But
web
like,
shell, if it's a web shell or RCE or potential upload point for malware or ransomware, if I can deploy spyware on your box within a couple minutes, then yeah, it's kind of a big issue. You know what I
A
mean, my
quick
dude?
quick question:
oh, I know exactly what you mean.
how many re-engage with you to come back afterwards, or like, hey, 3 months, come back and redo, in a percentage wise?
I had quite a bit of people, request my services again. Um, I would have to say around, I don't even know, to be honest with you. And a guesstimate would be around 70% of
Oh, that,
people.
Listen,
oh, that's pretty good, because it's usually people do a pen test or have a red team engagement or something along those lines to check the box.
I think
Yeah.
one of the things I recognized from my experience, I still remember, like I keep talking about this VP of IT operation. Let me see, this guy was in a lot of meetings, and I felt, even like I had like we had a VP that got hired over me that I was speaking directly with, and he was like, "Yo, he's not technical at all." And I was like, "Okay, but he's in all these meetings." Like, yeah, he's in all the meetings, but that doesn't mean anything. So
You
so
should be technical if you're going to be a part of a leadership position.
some people, listen, let me tell you, I've s- I'm I've had people basically be like, "Yo, this is too long of a read," and I'm like, "No, listen, that's coming right from NIST." You know what I'm saying? It's these words, these thoughts. I
And they
basically
probably
just,
turn around and go, "What is NIST?"
right, right.
Well,
You
yeah,
know what
I
I'm
mean, come
saying?
on, you
And
guys.
then I
And
got,
they're
and then
and
I
they,
got it, and then I got it. Then I have to go about explaining this. But even my explanation as I'm talking, I see their eyes
Oh, they're gonna
roll.
glaze over. Oh,
Yeah, it
100%.
glaze
Yeah.
over. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, oh God, and
think
it's
about it
just
though. You're a decision maker. You're a decision maker. You need to make lots of decisions. They have like lots of impact. Do you really
Yes,
have
sir.
time to read this stuff? They depend on
Oh,
you to come at them and tell them like, "Hey, here's the stuff. Here's the decision I think you should make." Right? Maybe they
so
make
let
it.
me.
Maybe they don't. They don't have time to read all the
no,
stuff.
they don't. They don't.
I, I'll give y'all a little. I know I just like popped in here. I'll give y'all a little background on me. So I've been in leadership. I've been in leadership for, I don't know, the last 10 years. Um, most of my stuff has been directly involved with the CFO, CIO, and so forth. When it comes to trying to talk to somebody moving up, you don't bring in, like, for instance, if you had a red team engagement or you did a pen testing engagement and so forth, that needs to come to the director of IT, the VP of IT, whoever the technical person is, and they can sit in the meeting. The CIO can sit in the meeting or whatever. CIO is not going to really care about the meeting. It's up to that director, it's up to that VP to then take all that technical jargon that's there and turn it around and say, these are the actionable items that we need. And the CIO, uh, Chief Information Officer, right? The information officer may or may not be a technical person. They may have an accreditation like a CISSP or something like that, but they may not actually be a technical person. A CTO, that's completely different. That person better be technical if they're going to be on that technical side. But it's all about how you're able to convey up the chain what needs to happen. And a lot of times in that position, like we were just saying, they really don't care. They're there to say, okay, that's what needs to get done, go get it done. They don't necessarily need to know the ins and outs
Exactly.
of it. They just need to know
Yeah.
that when something happens, that their butt is covered. Because believe it or not, depending on where they're at, those C suites do have insurance on themselves if something like that were to happen. If you have an incident, and they basically get blamed for it. I mean, there's a lot to that. But
Oh,
uh,
you mean the errors and omissions insurance in the company, like that type of thing, or what?
oh no, they'll have individual insurance, so they'll have C-suite
Oh,
insurance.
oh, really?
Yeah, that's actually so CIOs, CFOs, CEOs will have insurance on themselves out there, and now CISOs, so CISOs are starting to fall under that as well. Yeah, I don't know if you guys pay attention to a lot of the news and stuff that out there, but I think what was it, the Uber CISO had an issue. There's been a you always hear about CISOs are usually the fall guys, right? So when something
Yeah.
happens and it's the CISO's problem, like that was all under them, and they end up getting fired or something. And it's when it's a nation state that's taken over your company, guess what? It doesn't matter how great your security is, and if the nation state wants to take over your security, they're going to take it over. Sorry, it's going to happen.
Well, that's good. That's good to know. If I ever,
Yeah, they're gonna figure out a way.
yeah.
Whether it's sitting there in a dark room and hacking into the back end and figuring it out, or just sending out a phishing message, or calling somebody and getting access. I mean, they'll figure it out. Heck, you've seen everything going on with North Korea, right? And the laptop farms and people getting access to companies by actually coming on as an actual employee. How that happens,
Um,
I have no clue, but it
yeah, that's what I was
100%
talking
happens.
about. Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier. How these more advanced threat actor groups, they have their members actually apply to these companies to be an insider threat,
Oh, yeah.
knowing dang well what they're gonna do. So they can upload USBs or to where they can do these things to have their malware ransomware propagate through the network or whatever the case may be. Um, but yeah, it's definitely some. If you're gonna get targeted by a nation state, there's little that you
That you
can
can
do
do.
to prevent it.
Well, and
That's like
what's
Like,
crazy is when
some of these guys. I have some friends. So I'm in the Bronx. I'm like by Westchester County. Let me tell you, some of my friends that ended up going to school like in like Eastchester and Bronxville. When I go to their homes, it's like like the amount of people that are there that are basically wiring money, like they're like one guy he did like he just writes bonds and he's the final say that basically sends a lot of money for projects for little things that we don't things that are like in Puerto Rico, things that are like in Arkansas, releasing millions of dollars for projects and stuff like that. I mean, it's
I mean,
man, I,
you guys saw what happened with was it North Korea? There was a North Korean group that deep faked the CFO and the CEO of a company, and they ended up taking them for $22 million.
wow.
voice cloning software. I know WAN
Yeah.
2.2 is extremely good at that. They do voice and video cloning of whatever model. You only need like what, three or four
Three
seconds.
seconds. Yep, three
Yep,
seconds.
3 or 4 seconds of
What's
the
what's
person.
the mitigation for that? Like, what do I do with my
So
family and
the
friends for
mitigation for
work?
that is having a safe word, basically, is what it is.
And then on
So
top of that, like for the videos that you have, you could have like Stego and LSB, or like for the audio layer to kind of like distort it a bit to where I mean this is more of like an advanced thing. The average everyday person isn't going to be able to do that.
Yeah, like,
But
is my grandma gonna have Stego?
no, no. I mean there's voice modification stuff that you can do to prevent voice cloning and different like frequency things. But I mean, even then, the average everyday person is not going to be able to do that. The more like
So
hands-on thing to
Yeah.
do is
Listen,
what
man.
EJ said about the
safe
safe
words.
word, the passcode, all that stuff, and you know,
But the
what
other
you
thing
call it.
about voice and even any type of video, right, is that the staff has to be like really aware. The staff has to be really aware. Like I'm the IT person, right? why would I be calling and asking you to do something? You know, or even like they have to think like, why is the owner of the company calling?
Well,
Let me
that's where security awareness comes in. You have to have
yeah.
security awareness training throughout the company. They
Mhm.
have to understand that. You have to pick and choose what you're going to um, what you're going to push out to people and things like that. Especially like accounting groups and things like that. They've got to have those SOPs in place, right?
Let me tell you another story. So we're doing a story. So basically, there was a payroll clerk. She got she got a message that the COO wanted to change the bank, right? That his direct deposit was going to. So basically, the guy, CEO comes in and he goes over to the payroll department and he's like, "Hey, what's up? What's up with my pay?" And they're like, the clerk is like, "Oh no, I changed it, like you said." And then they looked at that email and it was like it was literally a case of she just if she would have
She didn't
even
pay
gotten a
attention.
couple of lessons, she would have been like, "Oh, this ain't right. Let me give him a call. Let me do whatever." She just responded to the email. To this day though, I feel because I know her through other circumstances. I feel like she was complicit. I feel like she was complicit. But the thing
Well,
is,
so things like that now. That's why the HR systems are put in place now to where once that initial setup for the individual is put in, the individual is the only one that can go in and change their bank account. The
right,
HR people
exactly.
can't, the accounting people, nobody can. It's
No
just
one can
so
do
the
it.
employee is the only one that can do it.
That's right.
So
That's right. There's a the advantage. There's a payroll system called AV Advantage that they use that even the one that's being popularized by Barbara Corcoran does that. Mm.
Paycom,
Yeah, something whatever. This Barbara Corcoran. All of a sudden now she's doing software. I'm like, what?
yeah, I think she's doing Paycom. But I mean, the biggest one out there is ADP, ADP,
Yeah, ADP,
Paycom.
ADPs. Yup. Yeah, but these things, the social engineering was just definitely a part of it all. I mean, this is, but again, like I say, there was like pre-ransomware, pre-cybersecurity. That's how, even though cybersecurity was always there, I don't think people were. I think several people, and I wouldn't even be surprised if even now to this day, there's a couple of companies that are like, "Well, who's going to attack us?" Like, all right, okay.
Hey, everybody says that until it happens, and then guess what? Then the purse gets opened up, and now they have money galore and don't know what to do with it. I feel like we took over Nate's stream.
No,
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
no.
kind of did.
No, it's good. It's really good. This is probably the first time that we've had like just more relaxed instead of guided, targeted questions. It was just free flowing. So I think we had to let that one play out. I think this is the first time I seen DJ BSEC up here, so I definitely had to let it flow and me out. And I know we're over on time, so I think we should just wrap it up, y'all, and try to shut it down for the evening.
Hey,
But
how long when you do this thing? What's your time? Like, what do you go for? An hour? Or what do you do?
yeah, I target an hour and try to lean into what the special guest has going on. Sometimes they don't have an hour, so you know
Right.
we try to dance a little bit, but um, in this case, it just there was still some dialogue. So meow, my apologies there. I'm going over, and we definitely need this. We need a continuation somehow, some way, somewhere down the line,
Right.
especially around some.
Yeah, I can.
Yep, yep.
Yeah, sorry for interrupting you, but yeah, just hit me up. I'm willing to come back on for purple teaming, CTI, or any of that, and I will be dropping a few guides. I was talking to you about this earlier, Nate. A few guides on red team, blue team, operational security, and different topics like that for the average everyday person. So that's in the works currently. I thought I was going to get it done by today, but life had other plans.
Oh,
But
good.
that will be linked. My GitHub will be linked as well.
Yeah, and everyone, just so you know, uh, I don't want this to be the Nate show. Like I'm cool with pitching questions and keep them going. But at the end of the day, I need other perspectives. There are within this space, we know that there are so many different things happening and so many different perspectives. And I'm glad that look at this lineup. Look at the panel. It's dense with knowledge and experience and perspective. So I li- I thought the conversation was fantastic. I do. If you were paying attention, you're able to keep up. There was a lot of newer words that folks may not have picked up. So
Right.
and that's okay because not every time do we have to always deliver to the emerging. Sometimes the established can just hang out, and that's okay. And I think that that's the way that it kind of played out tonight, and I'm completely fine with that. Completely.
Right, right, right. It's kind of crazy, something. I'm very interested in how this stream gathers, like and how deep it can get. There's one guy. It's but his thing is not technical stuff. But what happens with one guy, like he'll just get on. He has moderators, and I promise you, he'll just talk for like 15 minutes about stuff, and you could just see like the I don't know if it's the topic or it's that people are used to them by now, but like it'll grow, it'll go 15, 20, 30, 40, and then he'll open up to a panel, to a discussion.
I like that.
And then it gets wow, it gets. I mean, I look at him and I'm like, what the hell? But he's like, I mean, his stuff is kind of weird too, you know what I'm saying? But
No, I anticipate that folks like Meow would deep dive into a community out there that is nerding out crazy on every day, and that's just what they do. Like the Linux talk, we got Linux part 2 coming back. The Linux talk, we had over 100 something people in the room, and it was a lot of activity. So I had to bring the Linux talk back, and and I think that for me, it's, hey, let's try to hit different topics. But I love that format, and I'm open to like um playing around with some different formats. But so far it's been, hey, no agenda. Hey, give me a topic and give me a guest, give me a topic, and let's rock and roll. And as folks come up, they can engage, they can ask questions, they can contribute and share. And I really like that so far. And I'm gonna keep like trying to get that, you know, keep it going. I'm gonna keep that going for
that's
sure.
nice. I just followed all you guys. If you want to, you go follow me. I have a GitHub also. We could chop it up. We could talk. Because I'm definitely
Ooh,
looking at I'm
hold
looking
up.
at
I hear
TikTok. Go ahead.
mhm.
What were you
Sorry
saying?
for interrupting. I hear you have a GitHub. What
Yeah,
what
yeah, yeah.
cool.
I
I'm
yeah,
definitely gonna check it out. I
yeah.
need
I
to
have a
see if I
GitHub.
can
I'm
add
I
more.
I'm using GitHub. I did my first website on GitHub and IO. And I'm gonna evolve it even more. I'll do some vibe coding stuff. Um, One of the things, if you don't mind, let me just say so you know how you can read the headers on an
Hmm.
email, right?
Header
Uh,
analyzer.
Yeah.
right. So basically, I've um I've used AI to do a prompt used with Gemini Opal, right? And then I created an email header reader from there, right? But to move off of the reliance of having to sign in through Google, because that's what it requires. Because I'm using Gemini, I'm using an Opal Gemini Opal product. It's prompting whatever. I'm developing a way to put it on a website just as a tool, right? And it'll be just free. You know what I'm saying? And not everyone is going to use it. You know, the common layperson doesn't need to take the header of an email and toss it in there and break it down and give it a score. You know what I'm saying? But
Granted, that would be a smart practice for everybody to do, especially if they get a
100%.
I
suspicious
mean,
email.
yeah, but you gotta frame it to people. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then too, one of the reasons why this came about is because I'm tired of like some of these recruiters. I'm like, they're like, I don't want to. So insert an accent, right? Just insert an accent, and they're like, yeah, I'm in New Jersey. Like, no, you're not.
Yeah.
No, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not, buddy. No, you're not. No, you're not. You know what I'm saying? Like, so with the accent is so thick, and I'm like, they're like, yeah, I'm out in California. I'm out in Texas. What part of Texas? What part of? What's the weather like today? Who's the governor there? Why are you asking me these questions?
The VoIP server is hosted in Texas. I mean,
Yeah,
technically,
but
Yeah,
it's like
Envoy is hosted in Texas.
the telephone number that they're calling me from says Texas. I take it I run everything through my email header, and they're like South insert the name of a country not in America.
Listen,
You know,
man.
you know what I'm saying? And then too, then now what's the usual thing? They're like, yeah, if I could get the last four of your social and your birthday. Like what? For what? For what?
Yeah.
I
You
want
know what I'm
to
saying?
I want to respect everybody's time. I'll just say that if y'all anybody wants to look me up, I'm DJ Bsec on all platforms. So
For sure, for sure. Everyone,
But
follow everyone on this panel. Meow, you get the last words. Get us out of here, bro. And anything you want to say, anything you haven't been able to say so far as we exit.
there's quite a bit, but out of respect for you and everybody's time, I would just say continue to develop, continue to. Sorry, I get to answer a message, but continue to research. Most of all, be curious. Try to mess around, see what you can break, see what you can fix on your own systems, of course, or those that you're authorized to do so. I gotta, put that out there. But make sure you consistently train and try to upgrade yourself as much as possible. If you're gonna want to go down the route that I did with purple teaming, as I said earlier, learn blue team, how to defend, how to secure, all that stuff. There's a whole bunch of software out there that's free, open source that you can use to get that started. Uh, you know, do OSINT, red teaming, and all of that. You know, check in with my channel. I'm not trying to self promote or anything,
Promote it.
but when I when I drop my guides, I'll have a lot of that stuff on there for people to check out with some configuration, some security stuff for Linux or Windows. Obviously, debloat Windows and get rid of telemetry and spyware. That's it's pretty recommended. Of course. Make sure you update your software and don't click any suspicious links. That's about it.
It's fire. It's fire. Thank you everyone for joining. We'll catch you next time. Check out Meow, see what he has going on. Send him some messages. He's definitely a transparent, open book, and willing to help folks out. And take advantage of that type of energy. When someone says, "I want you to hit me up," and you don't hit them up, you're missing out. You're missing out. So, uh,
Yeah, my bad, bro. But I'm always willing to help. Just ask me questions, and if I know it, I'm gonna answer. If I don't, I'll find out for you, or at least try to.
that's all you can ask for, everyone. That's all you can ask for. So, great live, good stuff. Thank you, everyone. I shut it down. Have a great, safe rest of your evening, afternoon, morning, whatever time you're watching this. And we will catch you all next time.